All right, welcome back. A real quick video this time about some Keilwerth history that I found on the internet. I'll post the link to the web page down below because we're not going to go over all of it. So take a look at the web page and we'll get right to it. So this is a very interesting website. We'll learn a little bit about the Keilwerth company and their instruments that they had. This is from a website called brasspedia.com, and we're going to go right to it. It goes Julius Keilwerth Brass Instruments. Now, they're best known for their saxophones, and there's a lot written about Keilwerth saxophone history, but they also produce and sold trumpets and trombones. And I know that primarily because I'm also a French horn and cornet player, so I keep track of brass instruments too. And we know late in the Couf era, he tried to make a comeback with some new horns with his name, and he had some trumpets and other brass instruments. But right here, we're going to look at the contents, company history, and some information here. History, we have Julius Keilwerth from 1894 to 1962. He was trained as an instrument maker. He first apprenticed for Keilwerth, which was in Czechoslovakia at that time. Let's see, then he worked in Switzerland and Germany. After the First War, he worked in the Bautzlau area. You also see primary manufactured saxophones in Adler, which is where he was at before, in FX Hewler. All these names, they kind of intermix with each other. We'll see that later on as we read about it. This town here, Mark Neukirchen, is a place in Germany, Austria area that you'll find was the hotbed, just like France was, like Paris was in France, for musical instrument makers. So this was a large industrial instrument making location. Shreibers in there too, and a ton of string makers. Anyways, goes on some nice pictures here. What things look like in the past. Formal Keilwerth factory. And the villa will Julius Keilwerth live until 1946. Talks about after World War II, when they had to leave the Graslitz city. 47, they entered near Frankfurt. And here's the registration of Keilwerth. And their old production facilities, which were in Graslitz, now called Graslitz. I don't know how to speak German and whatever. Anyways, it became part of the Amati collection. There's another name that we have here. Amati still makes instruments, and they're still out there. But here's something interesting. The first saxophones that Amati sold were stamped with the JGK Best in the World trademark. Of course, had the model name ToneKing and had the Julius Keilwerth serial numbers. Then in 49, they moved to Nahim. In 1953, they had about 50 people. And you also had an electroplating facility. Keilwerth was known if you wanted a custom horn and really anything gold, silver, they would do it for you. This is interesting. 56, a cheese making company, was bought to give room to the metal wind instrument making. So building went from making cheese to metal instruments. Built a new factory. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. And here's their former facility they had, making brass instruments. And by that time, 80 people were producing saxophones. Early 50s, a legal battle encompassed between the term tone king and new king. Amati claimed in 54 they also had the right to use it. And after their takeover of the Keilwerth company, they used ToneKing, and they also used Keilwerth as a logo, as well as Keilwerth serial numbers. It took until 1955 for the European court to say Julius Keilwerth was the only one that could legally use the ToneKing name at that point. Julius' son Josef took over in 1962. And then after Joseph's death in 82, I guess, his nephew Gerhard Julius Keilwerth took over. And he passed away in 2012. And then another one in 85, Jochen Keilwerth started working there. Now, in 1989, Boosey Hawkes purchased Keilwerth. We know this. They also purchased Buffet. And they had 50 people there. B&H merged with Shreiber also in 96. 2006, the music group was broken up. And Shreiber and Keilwerth became an independent company. Keilwerth production moved to Markenkirchen. Mostly, I guess the administration remained in the Nahum area. Gerhard left Keilwerth and started a saxophone workshop that I can't pronounce. In 2010, Shreiber and Keilwerth filed for insolvency, and they were acquired by the Buffet Crampton Group. Now we have here some more about their brass making here. Talked about the early times, 1950s and stuff. You can go to the website and take a look there. This was something about the saxophones. And apparently they claim an innovation about the 3 valves and interchangeable valves, I guess. Interesting. For the Super Deluxe series. A couple of 1950s catalogs of the brass instruments. '59 catalog shows cornet and trombone in the cover. Older Maryland catalog of Lindbergh, the Keilwerth Deluxe. In the 60s, catalog dated 1967. Saxophones on the right-hand side. The engraving isn't very detailed or big there. Notice the black lacquer on the trumpets, something that they would later do on saxophones. I don't speak German, so maybe someone can read that and post in the comments what it says. Let's continue on. Some more interesting details. It says model names and stuff with the Deluxe as well as ToneKing and New King saxophone models for the trumpets and cornets. More about trumpets and cornets you can take a look at here. In the 70s, they began concentrating on production of saxophones only. There's a 70 catalog. More information I cannot read. More brass instruments there. Now this was a price list in February 1976. Trumpets. I don't know what that even says. Was that trombone or something? Flute, clarinet. So that German clarinet and Bohm system clarinet. 17/6, so 17 keys, 6 rings, I guess. 730 Deutschmarks or something. I have no idea. In 1976 price lists. In Deutschmarks. Here it mentions Helen, I know him from Woodwind Forum. We put together a website of a lot of Keilwerth information. 1980s. Keilwerth student model. I think I had one of these at one time. That shows some rare Keilwerth brass horns. And this interesting instrument, the jazzophone. Kind of looks like a mellophone, just kind of laid out differently. Kind of like a mellophone laid out like a saxophone, really. And then it says here, at the same time, Keilwerth marketed a straight alto saxophone branded as ToneKing 3000. Oh, they also made a Dizzy Gillespie style trumpet for him. You've seen those ones where the bell that goes up? More information there. They made sousaphones. I never knew that. I would never guess that. Oh, a tenor horn. Interesting. Then they also have some catalogs here, some model names that they have, and information about it here. More images. You can take a look. You can go to the website here, take a close look at the pictures here. Down here near the 2/3 of the way down, we get the Superba I and IIs. But these were actually the trumpets they're talking about. Yes, it says made exclusively for H. Couf by Julius Keilwerth. You know what? I think I saw these auctions on eBay. Yeah, so I saw them because I live in the area where Herbert Couf was from and lived, and his Roy Oak store that was here, and a lot of his trumpets would come up from time to time on eBay. Yeah, I remember his funeral here, 2011. His Superba name was used for his saxophones. I have some of the saxophones, alto and tenor downstairs, Superba ones. And our high school used Superba twos primarily, alto, tenor, and bari for our instruments. And his Royal Music Store was the main store we went to. I took lessons there for years. Cornucopia, Keilwerth Couf Royalist Cornet. Now there's 3 Royalist names. The original Royalist name, Royalist 1, were actually Keilwerth made instruments, whereas the Royalist 2, for saxophones that is, was actually a copy of the Royalist made in Elkhart, Indiana. And the reason they did that was because the Royalists 1 and 2, the price wasn't very much different from the Superbas. And Couf was looking for a lower cost student saxophone. So they started making them in the US. At that time, the US labor rates were a lot lower than they were in Germany. Another name, York, and York used to be a company in, I believe, Kalamazoo, Michigan at one time. I really like trumpets, flugelhorns with the triggers on them. Here we go. Not Keilwerth, ToneKing by Amati Lejeune. I have no idea. But more information about Amati and information like that. Not Keilwerth, ToneKing by the New York Band Instrument Company. Never knew that either. I guess people like the name ToneKing. Keilwerth, what in the world? Interesting. Josef Keilwerth. More instruments to make sure they're not what you think they are. Phone numbers. and other sources here. Anyways, I provide a link in the description below so you can take a look at this website in more detail. Don't forget to give a thumbs up, like, and share some information about the Keilwerth company from a website I just came across about Julius Keilwerth brass instruments. We'll see you later.